We got to turn this up. Let's go.
Victory!
Woo! Let's go. In a game where we thought it was over and done with. Friday night ruined. You know, the Celtics are losing by near 40 points. No. They come back all the way, go to overtime. Jayson Tatum drops 60 points. Ties the franchise record for, most in a game with 60 points. And the Celts come back and take the dub against the Spurs. Let's go. I mean, I was outside doing yard work all day, getting grass in my eye, getting my hands dirty, getting grass and dead grass in places I don't even want to talk about. I just wanted to sit down and watch the Celtics. Then all of a sudden, they just start stinking. And I was like, this day just can't get any worse. This day could not get any worse. And all of a sudden, some way, somehow, this thing just started to unwind. And all of a sudden, we're feeling it. And then we have ourselves a ball game. And then Jayson Tatum has a string attached from the ball to the hoop. And he's making everything in sight. I don't know. I mean, this team, man, this team is crazy. Like, that game right there was like the season in a nutshell almost. You hate this team. You love this team. You kind of dislike this team. Then you're, on cloud nine with this team. But anyways, guys, welcome to the post-game show. Don't even know what I was just talking about. I just went on a massive rant. But make sure to hit that subscribe button if you are watching on YouTube. That's where we are trying to build the audience over there. So if you're not watching on YouTube, head over to YouTube. I just tweeted out the link and join the chat over there. The stream will be exclusively on YouTube pretty damn soon. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this stream. And I'm cracking one open to celebrate Tatum. Cheers to everyone that's having one with me. Let's go Celts. All right, let's get into the box score. Actually, you know what? Let's jump right to the player of the game. This one's obvious, right? Jayson Tatum, 60 points, 8 boards, and 5 assists. Again, that play at the end. If Jayson Tatum got that and one and he converted the and one, they ruled it on the floor and he had 2 foul shots, that could have been Jayson Tatum holding the all-time record for most points in a game as a Boston Celtic. But right now he's tied with Larry with 60, but let's get into the rest of the box score here. I want to give a couple other shout-outs, because obviously Jayson Tatum is the man of the hour, right? Jayson Tatum is the absolute man of the hour. He had 60 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Awesome. Over 50% from the field, 71% from 3. Jayson Tatum did his damn thing, and I'm going to talk about him in a second, if I haven't talked about him enough already. But I want to give 2 more shout-outs. Aaron Nesmith, first and foremost. He's coming out. It's a couple games in a row now. His coming out party. Aaron Nesmith, 16 from him. It wasn't even the points that did it for me. Like, look at this +-2. In a game that, ended up being a really close game, +12 for Nesmith. Nesmith was everywhere. Everywhere. He's on the bottom of piles, loose balls. He's up top getting rebounds. Everywhere. He had a couple defensive lapses, but I think the pros vastly outweighed the cons tonight. And then one more shout out that I think this one is going to fly under the radar. Tristan Thompson. Jakob Portal, piece of dog, you know what? Whatever his damn name is. He was going off tonight. That was one of the better games I've ever seen him play. And Tristan Thompson did have his hands full, but Tristan Thompson ended up grabbing 8 offensive rebounds, 15 boards, and he played seemingly like every damn minute in the second half, which is when the comeback mounted. So I wanted to give those sort of, secondary shoutouts, but let's get into some of the chat. Let's go. What a game. We're going to have to fly through some of this chat right now, but Tiffany's saying good comeback game. Oh, don't sell him short. Good. That was great. Landon's saying yes, what a win. Bark is saying let's go. Tiffany's saying JT is on fire. J-Mac saying JT's a god. Hayden is saying what? That's kind of what I was thinking. I was watching, I was like, wait a second. Someone pinch me. Like, what's going on here? F is saying, no way. Serge is saying generational talent. And Hayden saying he's not a superstar. Calling out the haters. I want to talk about one thing, because this was something that I started to notice. And I know my man Gear was in the DMs talking about it too. I'm not going to go ahead and say, oh my God, here we go. Jayson Tatum, proven leader. But we've spent a lot of time on this show talking about who's a leader, who's not. Yeah, right? This is the type of game where a leader, they are down big all game long. You know who never stopped, started the game hot, and continued hot? Jayson Tatum. He ended up being the guy, which is what a leader does, that every player on the team can look at in a game when they're down 20, 30, almost 40 points. But they look at Jayson Tatum and he's going, I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. And look how it ended up. So, I'm not going to be too quick to be like, oh my God, book it, put a star on the fridge. Jason Tatum is a leader, because obviously we've had some troubles with calling him a definite leader, but this is the type of game that tells me that Jason Tatum will be, not can be, will be a leader. Because when everything was going, south, Jason Tatum was looking north. Jason Tatum was going north, and allowed everyone else to just say, hey, you know what? Let's follow. Maybe he's not giving us pump talks. Maybe he's not, yelling at us. But he's leading by example. Let's follow in his footsteps. And that happened. I'm going to ask you guys again, if you are watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and like this stream. And if you want to donate to the stream, I think you can just press !donate. You can type that out in the chat and donate to the stream if you're supporting it, if you are enjoying the stream. But guys, I'm going to skip ahead in the chat a little bit here. If I miss your comment, go ahead. Drop it again. I don't care. More chat, the more the merrier. Ray is saying this is what Celtics pride is about, historic games like this. And again, it was Jason Tatum. It was pretty much Jason Tatum through and through. But then you had Jaylen Brown hit the big shot. Marcus Smart. I don't think Marcus Smart's going to get enough credit for what he did on DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan looked like he was in a pretzel. Like he was taking the worst mid-range jump shots in times when they needed it. In that first half, the Spurs were getting every single shot they wanted. Every single shot they wanted. Marcus Smart, it seemed like he said, you know what? Something's got to click, and I am going to lock down. And Marcus Smart ended up playing 44 minutes tonight. So I want Marcus Smart to get a little bit of a shout-out, too. Even though he didn't shoot well, even though he maybe took a couple threes that didn't look great, he did his damn job, too. Birkin saying Jaylen for 50 on Sunday. That'd be amazing. No, you know what? It would be amazing if he goes and tops him, like when Larry did it to Kevin McHale. I don't know if Jaylen has, this is not even against Jaylen. I don't know if Jaylen has 60 plus in the bag yet, but that would be awesome. Sergio says, what a damn win, and Nesmith looked great. He looked great, and I think Nesmith is finally starting to come out. Parker saying this team is bound for a great fail. Lucius. I mean, it is. This team is just like, when you get this team, and when I say this team, let's make sure we're talking about when you get like the second half of this team, right? What happened tonight? This team, just they're moving the ball while Jason Tatum's going off. I know the Spurs aren't the best team in the world, but there was two different teams that played tonight. It was the Celtics in the first half and then the second half. F saying this might be the most unbelievable game to describe. Nesmith clutch, won down by 30 at half, win. JP shot horribly but came in clutch in JT 60 piece. You know what? It might be unbelievable to describe, but F, I'll give it to you. You kind of just put it in a nutshell. Jojo saying happy 1st of May. Indeed. Terry saying on behalf of the Bulls, I'd like to offer trade the Bean, Chicago PD, Wrigley Field, and Justin Fields for Tatum. Not even remotely close. Jason Tatum, untouchable, Terry. Kevin saying Nesmith is a baller. Lance saying Grant was good. Grant hit a couple shots early. But I will say this. Grant was... Come on. Can't kill my vibe talking Grant was good. But he was good early in the game, but he didn't even sniff part of that comeback. Ubi says Nesmith should start IDK. I will say this. I'm not going to say he should start, okay? Because that's start over who you get into that. But what I'll say is he's earned his spot, right? Like 1,000,000%, he's earned playing time. You can't watch these past few games from Nesmith and then say, you know what? I'm going to put him back on the bench, like Brad has done, seemingly. No. Nesmith, just like when Robert Williams got past the point of, hey, we can't bench this guy anymore, Nesmith has to be there, man. I'll be frustrated if Nesmith starts not playing because, hey, he's your lottery pick. Even if he goes back to maybe not playing as well as we've seen, you don't want to waste the pick. And if you sit him on the bench, it's a waste of a pick no matter what. You might as well let him either, thrive or fail. And if he fails, then yeah, maybe it's a bad pick. But guess what? If he goes on to be a great success, it's a good pick. If you sit his ass on the bench, you never get the benefits, and you just guarantee that it's failed. So I say he's past the point of no return in terms of, getting minutes. 30 minutes a night, maybe not 30, but, as much as possible, Brad. You got to play the kid. Jags is saying, shout out to Tatum and Nesmith. Tatum needs no words. Nesmith's back-to-back 30 minutes, 15 plus, 16 rebounds, incredible game. Jay say win out. Game saying, I want to rewatch that whole game. That's a Celtics classic. The thing is, I sit through every single Celtics game, as I'm sure many of you guys do. That's the type of game that I go, you know what? Ain't worth my time. It's Friday night. Like, what am I doing here? But knowing that if you told me in the first quarter the way they were playing, when they had only 12 points with 3 minutes left and Tatum had all of them, whatever it was, the shit show that it was, if you told me in that moment, guess what? The Celtics are going to win this game, I would glue my eyeballs to the TV with hot glue. I don't even care. knowing that they were going to come back from this game and go and win it in overtime, and Jason goes for 60. I mean, amazing. So you go rewatch that. I might do the same thing there. F says we meme Neesmith, but that boy hustles. I mean, he's a real deal now. And when I say real deal, you know what I mean by real deal. I think he is a guy that can play and should get minutes. He's not like he's not a total 15th man type of guy. I think that he can honestly get some minutes. When I say real deal, that's what I mean. I'm not saying, oh my God, Neesmith is an all-star now. All right, I got to skip ahead just a little bit. The chat is flying tonight. Keep the chats coming. AC says, how are you not chugging a boom sauce after that one? Give myself one of these. I've been lacking in the beer game, and AC knows it. I always know AC is the beer police for me. And he sees me drinking the Bud Light, which is a preseason beer. But, you're right, AC. I let you down again this season. Matt's saying, no good defensive stop shots. Good defenses change shots. Smart gave us what won't be in the box score when it mattered on DeRozan. That's exactly. DeMar DeRozan was taking these shots that weren't comfortable, and I think that's exactly what you're saying, right? It's like Marcus Smart didn't block his shot. Marcus Smart didn't stop DeMar DeRozan from taking the shot. But when Marcus Smart was on him and DeMar DeRozan elevated, it did not look clean. It did not look easy. It didn't look like it was even going in out of his hands. It's not going to show up in the box score. And I mean, Jayson Tatum obviously star number one of the game, but I got to give the shout outs to, Neesmith, Tristan Thompson, and Marcus Smart. They did so much. I think Tristan Thompson and Marcus Smart, they did so much that really won't show up in the box score. Now, Tristan Thompson has 15 boards show up in the box score. Marcus Smart has double-double shows up in the box score. But them just grinding. Tristan Thompson played so many minutes in the second half there. Marcus Smart played 44 minutes and had the hardest cover of the night. We can't overlook those things. And I am glad that we are noticing here in the chat. Guys, hit that subscribe button. I see we're getting a few new subscribers tonight. Hit that subscribe button and like this stream. There's way more people watching right now than we have current likes, so the people that are in here every night know the deal. If you haven't liked it, that just means you hate me. No, you know what? I'm going to change that. If you haven't liked this video on YouTube yet and you're watching, it means you don't like Jayson Tatum. It means you hate Jayson Tatum. Hey, it's your choice, not mine. I want everyone to love Jayson Tatum, but if you haven't liked the stream, it means you hate Jayson Tatum. Connor says they deserve to lose that game. I can't believe they won. I'll twist that a little bit. The way they played the first, 33 minutes, they deserve to lose that game. I'll say that. The way they finished that game in the last 15 minutes or so, that wasn't a team that deserved to lose. That was a team that we have seen this year where they dug themselves too big of a hole and, oh my God, now they're going to turn it on but not come back. But to totally eclipse that comeback and end up winning it with Jason, all these things that fell into place. Marcus Smart, great defense. Neesmith kind of coming alive. Tristan Thompson grinding down low. Jaylen Brown hitting a big shot and Tatum going for 60. All these things happened. That's a team that that's a team that ended up deserving to win. But I hear you out totally because the majority of that game, the Celtics deserved to lose it and they didn't, which is great. News says, how are we this far into the stream and no one has mentioned that Popovich looks like Doc Brown from Back to the Future? I mean, it's true, but I will say this. I don't know if it's the headline of the stream. That's only the title of the YouTube video after the fact because it saves as a replay. Not Jayson Tatum goes for 60 points. Greg Popovich looks like Doc from Back to the Future. Lynn says, where I looked, the commentator, Spurs fan, made jokes of Celtics because we were down by 30, and at the end they were so quiet. I mean, seriously, it was I was on social media too. When the Celtics suck, and rightfully so this year, I'm not going to really disagree with them, the Celtics haters come alive. And again, rightfully so this year. But I love to put myself in their shoes when they fire off tweets like, oh, this team stinks. Even Celtics fans do it. I mean, I didn't do it tonight, but I've done it before too, where, oh, this game's over, yada, yada, yada. And then they come back and win. It's awesome to see. News saying, how much blame does Brad deserve for the start and credit for the finish? I think Brad was, I don't think, even if they had, to be honest, I know you guys probably won't believe me, but even if they had lost that game, I don't know if that was going to be a Brad Stevens loss. The way that game was going, it was that nobody in the building showed up other than Jayson Tatum to start that game. And at some point, that's on the players too. So I think Brad deserves a lot of credit. The way that he was drawing up, he had the hot hand. he kept going to the hot hand. And then when the hot hand was covered, he sort of had the, I guess, the play to have the other guy open. And his choice of riding with Nesmith, riding with Tristan Thompson, it almost is so non-Brad Stevens to do that. Brad Stevens, no chance Brad Stevens has Nesmith pegged for 30 minutes in his rotation tonight. You know what I mean? But he saw that Nesmith was contributing and he left him out there. That's Brad Stevens doing something that he usually doesn't do. Neon says, without Kemba, that win was something. It really was. Ubi says, is it safe to say that Fournier trade was a bust? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know if this team has truly been good enough since the trade deadline for us to kind of group it in as he's a bust. Like, if this team's firing on all cylinders, I think Fournier, how do I say this? I think if this team's riding on a high tide or whatever, Fournier is going to take them to the next level. I don't know if Fournier changes a bad team. And I mean, they went on that run after the trade deadline without him. He's come in and he's only had a couple good games. But I'm not ready to call it a trade bust. I guess that's what I'm landing on, Ubi. AC says, my Northeastern college buddy Dan Weiss called the game for the Spurs network. He just texted me saying, great, now I'll be associated with the worst loss in Spurs history. Astor saying, absolutely crazy. Terry saying, I'm not a Celtics fan, so I'll ask you guys, what game was better, more entertaining to watch? The Warriors game a couple weeks back or tonight? I think, again, this game is something special because now that you know the Celtics win and Tatum goes for 60, Nesmith steps up, like all these extracurricular involved too, other than the win. I think that this one's more. This is one of the more special and one of the best games of the season. Now, I'm not saying, again, the majority of that game, the Celtics stunk. So that's not what I mean by best games. But as a consumer of that game, knowing that they end up getting the W at the end and Tatum goes for 60, you look back on it and that's a great game. Lance saying, finally revenge for the Pelicans game. Marlon saying, Warriors first was more interesting. See, it was. So possession to possession, this game for the majority of the game kind of stunk. But looking back on it as a whole, putting it in a vacuum, I love this game. I think a little bit more. Masaki saying, Tatum had 60 with 0 turnovers. That's crazy. Michael saying, that was what I've been waiting for all year. Tipson saying, I love JT, my favorite player since he got here. Hey, he's going to have many, many more games like this. Like, tell me that this kid, and he's only 19, isn't going to set way more Celtics records. It's crazy. Where we go? I lost my spot here. Connor says, IDK, how to feel about Tatum tying Bird for the most points by Celtics. That's what I was thinking too. Like, I love Jayson Tatum. We all love Jayson Tatum. But I did in the back of my mind, I go, it's kind of like too early. Like, not too early, but it was kind of weird feeling being like, wait a second. So now he's, like, the way we regard Larry Bird, Jayson Tatum in many respects and stats now, he's kind of like right there, which is absurd. Now, obviously, you know, in terms of career accomplishments, he doesn't even sniff his jockstrap yet. But it was kind of weird and little like touchy to be like, oh, well, now Jayson Tatum is on that list for most points ever. But hey, it's not like we had like Tremont Waters do it, right? At least it's Jayson Tatum. Like, there's a lot of guys on this roster that, you know, somehow, some way, if they walked into that conversation and we were talking like, you know, Tremont Waters and Larry Bird are holding the tie for the most points in franchise history. That's like kind of like iffy. At least it's Jayson Tatum, you know? Wangi saying they were laughing at us in the first half. AC saying it's frustrating thing about this team is that they're capable of great things. Yeah, I know. And honestly, now they're going to play Portland. And the thing is, the sad part, I should say, is we have absolutely no clue if this, what we saw at the end of the game, is going to translate over into another game. Like, they could come out against Portland and just be dog doo-doo again. But it's a little too negative for me to think about right now, but it's totally valid for me to say and for you to kind of allude at too, AC. It's like, this team, the way they play sometimes, it's like, let's go do this. And then they play other times and it's like, do you even know what basketball is? But hey, whatever. It is what it is. And, you know, let's just hope as the season starts to wind down or pick up, however we want to look at it, that the Celtics do more good than bad. Game saying Bird, Paul Pierce, and Bird, 3 best Celtics of all time. Correction, Bird, Paul, and Tatum. Michael saying best comeback game of the year. I mean, again, you have to, and there's no other way of looking at it, but knowing that the Celtics win, this game gets chalked up in my book as one of the top games of the year. Ubi says Philly commentators even shed a tear for the Celtics when they were down 26. Oh, man. Gear says, just sent you 2 tweets on Twitter that you need to see. Let's see what we got. I can't. I don't know. I don't want to crash the stream. Let's see what we got. Wow. Oh, let's see if we can show it. Let's see if we can show it. I'll keep going here. I'll pull these up. Connor says, I'm saying that they deserve to lose from a pure box score perspective because I can't watch any games that are nationally televised. The struggles of being a Boston fan. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying beforehand. Ben saying, Celtics fan in London, we can't keep starting slow, but blimey, what a comeback. I mean, I don't use that word, but I love it. Blimey, what a comeback. Tatum is unreal. He is. Shout out to you, Ben, for tuning in from London. Michael said, this is what the team needs to push them further. I do think that you kind of have something here that you could capitalize on in momentum. I mean, don't know if it's going to happen, but I hope so. I hope so. Lan, look at that. A couple over the ponds here saying, are you tired? I'm getting an A. Someone said, what do you grade me? What do you grade me right now? What do you grade this show? What do you grade the show? Because, you know, A is obvious, right? Salsa says, do you remember a few years ago when the Celtics were down 29 against the Rockets and won? Was that the game? And I'm pretty sure it was. That Marcus Smart drew like the two offensive fouls before the ball was even inbounded on Harden. So that's comparable to this, and that had a couple big plays at the end as well. Guys, if the stream gets laggy, I'm trying to pull up a tweet, and we all know for some reason, like my computer's been crapping the bed lately when I try and do that. But let's see what we got. Gear says, in the clutch, when Jayson Tatum passed to Smart, who passed it to Brown, was so good to see. It was the beginning of this year. We probably would have done a step back. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, how about that? How about that from both Jayson Tatum and Marcus Smart, right? Jayson Tatum's going off. Everything he's touching is going in the hoop, yet he still said, you know what? I'm going to pass it. Pass the ball to Marcus Smart, who in this season alone has been known and has been criminal of taking some of these ridiculous shots at the end of the game. He passes it one further, and Jaylen Brown, who had stunk all night, says, you know what? This one's going in, and banged it. All right, here we go. I think we got the tweet up here from Gear. I think. The caption is that Tristan Thompson's so strong, he just straight up lifts Jayson Tatum over his head, which he does. Whoa, hey, he just dropped 60. Tristan Thompson's got to calm down a little bit. I don't want anybody getting hurt out here. That is great, though. That is great. That's the you know, it goes against the Tristan Thompson was the cancer in the locker room. You know what I mean? J-Max says, the C's always off to a bad start, pisses me off. It should. It really should. It should piss all of us off because the thing with the Celtics is that, you know, when you see them play really, really good or play great, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, why don't you do that every time? And a game like tonight is the perfect example where it's like they could have spanked the Spurs. Now, it wouldn't have been as entertaining of a game, I guess, but they could have spanked the Spurs if they just played, you know, more of what we saw at the end of the game. Missy saying, Jay Taters. Let's see. Wongy said, I think you're good with Tice. Land saying, you have a lot of fans from Europe. Hey, I mean, that means the Celtics have a lot of fans over there, Land. You're not my fan. I'll take it. I love you guys. But Celtics just global out here. Chris says, thoughts on Fournier? And then I see Fighter in the chat saying, when's Fournier going to appear to his normal self? Now, it's tough because you guys know, if you've been tuning in, I've been high on Fournier. There's no reason I can lie and be like, oh my God, he's been better than you think, right? He hasn't. He did miss a ton of, I will make the excuse that it's weird, right? Like, he missed a ton of games. The team was playing really well without him. Then he comes back. It's a little slow start to being back. But my thoughts on him overall so far, and I kind of said it earlier, is that I don't know if he's going to be really good unless this team starts to be good. And that might be confusing to think about, but I don't think Fournier is a guy that, you know, is going to get the ball and just turn things around. But when this team's in a flow and this team is playing really, really well, I think he's the exact type, he's the definition of a type of guy that's going to, one, elevate the team, and two, sort of, you know, prosper in that environment where the ball's flying around, everyone's making shots. He's that type of guy. So, honestly, my thoughts on him so far are lackluster. I still don't think it's a big deal. Like, they didn't give up that much. They didn't give up anything to get him. And, you know, I think the money thing is fine with eating into the TPE or whatever. I'm not bummed about him. I don't think he's a trade bust at all. He just came back from COVID too. But that my thoughts that if and I'm hoping I can say when this team really hits its stride and starts to finish out the season strong, I think that's when we're going to see the best version of Fournier. Tiffany saying graded an A+. Matt saying it was. I have it on file. And Salsa saying yes at the end. Hey, that's what I remember too, because that's one of my favorite like Celtics. Not even the game, but that's a similar like vein to this. But Marcus Smart, absolutely, getting in James Harden's head, reclining the recliner and just chilling out and living there is just one of my best, one of my favorite memories, I guess. Marcus Smart literally owned James Harden for 30 seconds. The ball was not even inbounded twice, and he drew an offensive foul on James Harden. It was crazy. Michael saying, grade the show an A+, shotgun a beer. Here's the thing. I didn't even start drinking until the game was over, if I was ready to go and, a little sudsed up a little bit, we'd have some shotguns to celebrate Tatum 60. But this game had me in a bad mood to start the game, and then it started coming back. So shotguns, unfortunately, I don't think are on the table tonight. Matt saying you get the MP4 of that game. I love that. George saying that was my favorite comeback game. Tiffany saying Fournier had COVID. He needs to be himself. That's the thing. I don't think it's too early to say, oh, Fournier is a bust of a trade, because again, I'm still in the camp of you did not do much to get him. He's the type of guy you get, and honestly, I do think he's helped. I think he's helped, not plenty, but he's helped when he's played. He had tonight. It wasn't back-to-back threes, but he hit a pretty big three in the game when they started to come back. Again, he only had 8 points. You didn't trade for him to score 8 points. I get that. But I'm not I'm not turned off by Fournier. I walked myself into this one. I'm not turned off by Fournier, but I'm not nearly turned on by him yet. You know what I mean? I want to be, but I'm not. That's how I'll put it. Maybe it's not the best way to put it, but it is the way I'm putting it. And it should make sense. I'm also saying Harden was so mad because Marcus Smart was getting all up in his face. Literally, like I said, he opened the door to his head, let himself in, made himself a sandwich, grabbed himself a Keurig, made himself a coffee, sat down in the chair and read the newspaper. In James Harden's head, all rent-free. Viter saying that comeback was 26 points. Gear saying his sub has bacon. Yeah, I got to start ordering the Jason Tatum sub. Matt saying Fournier on the Celtics with our firepower isn't going to look the same as it did with Orlando. He's got to adjust. That'll take time. It will. Yeah, that's the thing. And again, I think Fournier, I talked him up at the trade deadline. I've talked him up on the stream. I do think he's going to be good. But this season, since the deadline, even when they had their good streak and stuff, I think we learned that the Celtics' success or failure is not totally based on the personnel. It's the culture, it's the pride of the team, it's the mentality of the team, willing to compete every single possession, etc., etc. So, it's not like Fournier is a make or break guy to me anyways anymore. Maybe at the deadline I thought, okay, you go get him, boom, it's going to help. You sign Jabari, it's going to help. But then we started to watch some of these losses, and I was thinking, you know what? Even with injuries, even with this, there's something fundamentally wrong in this team's, if this team had a head type of thing. And I don't know if it's necessarily a personnel issue. Obviously, more better players you have, the better, no kidding. But there's something there. I'll say there was, because what we're seeing from this team in the last 15 minutes or so, or, hour, looked pretty damn good. But I'm starting to get off the personnel train of if Fournier stinks, the season's doomed. I think the season could be doomed even if Fournier is playing well. I think there's something about this team that has been off, and let's hope that they turn that around. I don't know if that makes sense. Lance says, I would be so broken if we lost an OT, especially you guys staying up ridiculous. What is it? 4 a.m. I don't even know the time here. Probably 5 a.m. there, and they go and lose. It's oh my God, why did I even waste my time? Matt says, what a win. So big a win. I think we're all forgetting to go look at the updated standings. What do we got for the updated standings now? Here we go. Can you guys see this? So updated standings. The Hawks were losing tonight too, right? Is it updated? Did the Hawks lose tonight, and is it 30? Is it Celtics? Yeah, the Celtics is updated. So, if they lost tonight, which, was going to be the case, right? They were going to be bumped down into that play-in spot, which would not have been the best. But I think the Hawks lost tonight too, which that helps. And then the Knicks. Have you guys seen what the Knicks have coming up? I saw that during the game. So look, the Knicks have been on a winning streak, right? They've been climbing the standings. Knicks coming up. Okay, they probably get a win against the Rockets, but look at this road trip. Grizzlies, Nuggets, Suns, Clippers, Lakers. That ain't easy. That ain't easy. I'm not saying that the Celtics are indeed going to go and, jump up to the 4 seed or anything like that. But let's just hope the Celtics do their job, because some teams in the East are starting to not do theirs. Lance saying, wasn't sure if I wanted to watch it because of the time, but thankfully I watched it. Yeah, imagine missing that game. Good thing you watched that, Lan. And you said it's 5 there, which is crazy. Yeah, Game is saying Tristan was so happy at the end because Tatum bailed him out for those 2 missed. Oh, hey, it wasn't 2 missed free throws, right? It was the 1 missed free throw, and then Marcus Smart did his little dance spin move and called it back. But Tristan Thompson was, if I'm thinking of the right free throws, maybe he missed 2 more that I'm forgetting about. But yeah, he did kind of bail him out. Here we go. What do we got? Steven says, Larry Bird on March 12, 1985, 22 of 36, 1 of 4 from 3, 15 of 16, 60 points. Jayson Tatum on April 30th, 20 of 37, 5 of 3, 15 of 17, and 60 points. That's so crazy. And honestly, I do give it a little bit of what we talked about earlier. It's kind of sad to see Larry Bird now share a record with someone, but I'm going to stick to at least it is Jayson Tatum. That's a good thing. Wong says, if Nesmith becomes an NBA starter level, that would be huge for us in the future. Think about it. This is a guy now, the shooting has not happened yet with Nesmith. We can all admit that, okay? We don't need to lie. The kid's been good. Tonight he looked okay with some of the shots, but the shooting hasn't been there. That was supposed to be his best thing. But if you actually put it into a, plot out what Nesmith is doing, the fact that he's gaining minutes, he is playing in the NBA right now, doing stuff that isn't really even his, go-to sort of player scouting report. He's hustling. He's diving. He's playing as good of defense as he can. He's getting rebounds. He's playing hard. Like I said, hustling. He's sort of doing the stuff that gets you playing time and not relying on, hey, well, all I can do is shoot, right? That's a good sign in my mind, because he's getting the minutes. He's earning the time. And, he's definitely getting respect of the coaches and respect of the players, because he's on the floor every 2 seconds and he seems to be like a magnet for the ball. But that's good, because guess what? If all of a sudden his confidence just clicks and his shooting is forgot I could do this really well. Now all of a sudden you're talking about a player that is legit, right? The fact that Nesmith is playing 30 minutes in a game like this by doing stuff that isn't really in his MO, that's a good thing. You could view it as, oh, well, it's bad that the shooting's not there. Fine, I'll give that to you. But to me, I'm looking at a glass half full, or can half full, because it's if he was only getting out there for shooting, it's okay, well, what else did you expect? What are the other parts of your game? Those other parts seem to be, hitting their stride, and now, maybe the next chip to fall is his actual shooting, which would be great. Lance says, it would be better if we stay the 6th, then we could play against the Bucks and 76ers. Yeah, I mean, honestly, with those 3 teams at the top, I think the Celtics are going to have trouble no matter what, right? But I will say, being the 4 and 5 seed, I think that's kind of what I want, because then I think you beat the Knicks or Hawks or whatever. I think that you I don't want to guarantee it, but you get out of the first round at least, Matt saying Knicks are also among the top 5 teams in terms of margin of little COVID impact over their opponents. They're fraudulent. Yeah, I mean, and we know the absolute opposite of that. With how much the Celtics have missed because of it. Game saying Tristan was so happy. I think I already read that one. Steven says, I was hoping Tatum broke Larry's record. Growing up, my dad had more photos on the wall of Larry than he did the family. Steven's all right, come on, let's do this one. Come on, Tatum. I love it. Chris says, if you were Brad, what would your rotation be for the playoffs? That's a good one, because it definitely has changed now with Nesmith. But okay, this is what I've said all along. So obviously you have the starters. I'll say this. We'll put Marcus Smart as a starter for now. I don't know if Fournier, hits his stride, whatever, okay? But Marcus Smart as a starter. You go Kemba, Smart, Brown, Tatum, and Robert Williams. That's your starting 5, right? And then you're looking at I would say off the bench, first three guys to me would be Fournier, Pritchard, and Tristan Thompson. Now, the one thing in that sort of, 1 through 8 so far is you're asking a lot of Peyton Pritchard. And Peyton Pritchard has been great this year. He's also had some lackluster games. But the one negative to that is, no matter what it is, he could be great, but you're relying on a rookie. And that can catch you up sometimes. So being able to have maybe a fringe next guy like a Nesmith, or even Parker's looked good, but I don't know if he's going to be a staple guy. But if Nesmith keeps playing, or, Romeo Langford can step it up, something like that, being able to have, an 8-man rotation like most teams would do. I know Brad Stevens somehow likes to play 21 guys every night, but having that 8-man rotation of the 8 guys that I said, and then you have your guard, forward, or guard wing, I should say. You have your Pritchard guard, wing Fournier, and then big man Tristan Thompson. And then you can kind of have a hybrid. Nesmith can be that 9th guy if needed, or if you need him, you could bring Grant Williams. You need a bigger body. But in terms of sticking to your rotation, I like the 8-man rotation that I spelled out there. Fighter saying, in other NBA news, Bulls down 11 to the Bucks 5-ish minutes ago. Tice is leading the Bulls with 16. Matt saying, Nesmith shot 52 from 3 last year in college. It's his confidence hits. He and PP will be a problem for the East. That's the thing. And I think we can all agree, and I don't want to put words in your mouth here, Matt, but Nesmith's shot, it's not like, he can't shoot. He looks rattled, or has looked rattled when he's shooting the ball. So to me, it's like a whole hesitation, confidence thing. Like when he's shooting the ball, it doesn't even look like he thinks it's going to go in. It's not a matter of, oh my God, what? He shot 50+% from college? His jump shot looks broken, or no. He just looks like a rookie that feels overwhelmed when he's shooting the ball. And I should say looked like, recent history, but not too recent, because he's been playing a little bit better. So I would say it is all confidence. Now, obviously, his confidence has started to hit, and maybe the shooting's still lacking behind a little bit. I get it. But it still comes down to this, too. And now that I'm saying it out loud, I think about it. Nesmith, and even if he is super confident, he is still going to always think in the back of his mind, every shot I take is taken away from Tatum, or taken away from Brown, or so on and so forth. So he's got that to worry about, but I think it is a true confidence thing on the offensive end. You saw him a couple times tonight, pump fake and drive to the hole. That was a guy that wasn't thinking about, oh my God, what if I miss this? Coach is going to take me out. We've already seen Nesmith start to benefit from Brad giving him the green light to play. Now give him the green light to shoot, and he won't come out. Wong is saying, do you think Thompson is starting to turn it on now? I would say yes, but I feel like he stunk last game, right? Or 2 games ago? What was that? I forget, but whatever. I think Tristan Thompson has had a decent stretch. I don't know about turning it on, but I will say I think he's finally starting to do his job and really be an impact in games. If that's what you mean by turn it on, Wongy, then I'm with you there. But it's like we have seen some duds from him, and some where he's like, oh my God, he looks garbage, he's getting in foul trouble or whatever. But in my mind, Tristan Thompson, I think, has been a pretty good rock of this team all year long when healthy. I know not everyone has agreed with that, but I've said that on this stream. Like, Tristan Thompson, the only people that should be let down by Tristan Thompson this year are people that somehow expected him to be going for 20 and 10. No, a 6.8 rebound night from Tristan Thompson is what I expected as a floor when they got him, and he's been kind of doing that. Len lives in I don't even know what Quahog is. Man, the time range we got all of here is crazy. Games saying Thompson was gonna owe Danny about $125 million if he dropped Tatum there. I'll take a few more comments here, guys, and then we're going to jump off. But Chris is saying, what's your plan with Kemba in the offseason? It's tough. I'm so reluctant to being like, oh, let's trade Kemba, right? I don't think you're gonna get anything close to what Kemba can be, even if Kemba's got the knee issues and whatnot. I think I don't know how to say it. I mean, I think you're gonna be trading him. If you do trade Kemba Walker, I think you're going to be trading, I keep saying it's like a horse for 2 ponies type of thing. Whereas even if the horse is limping a little bit, he's probably still faster than both ponies. Whatever. It's a weird analogy, but I'm not in the trade Kemba train yet. But I will say, if they do figure out a way to trade him, I've gotten to the point with Kemba where I still really like as a player. I've gotten to the point where I'm not going to throw my TV out the window and have sleepless nights. I will get over it if they decide to trade Kemba. I don't necessarily want them to go out of the way to, because I don't think you're going to get good value for him. If you can get really good value for him, go ahead. But I think Kemba can be good for this team. I think that he can be a third guy. I don't know if he's a third guy on a championship team, but with 1 year left in his deal and the player deal, like, I don't see why you have to force it and trade for something that he's not going to be, like, get something in return for him. Does that even make sense? Lan saying, I knew it. See, I didn't want to say that, Lan, and be like, oh, Quahog, I know that town, but because I thought maybe, hell, over there you're from somewhere called Quahog. Well, you got me. I'll give you that. Kristen, I think Kemba can be back to normal next year. And like, that's the thing. It's not like when we've seen him play, you could be like, oh man, his knee bothers him, right? Or his injuries bother him. No, when he plays, he looks good. So him sitting out and not playing back-to-backs, it's almost like a cautious move, not a necessary move. Now, maybe it's necessary. Maybe we're the fools here, but I do think that Kemba can be, like, coming off of a year we didn't have to play back-to-backs and whatnot. Maybe the Celtics get bounced in early in the playoffs, God forbid, and he gets a longer offseason than normal. Like, I think Kemba can come back and be good for this team. So I think we're on the same page there, Chris. But it's still a think. Like, I don't think anyone can say, I know that it's going to happen. Lance says, what we need is a power forward. Yeah, I mean, it would help. It is kind of a lost position. It's a lost art in today's NBA. But hey, we have our power forward. But yeah, I do think, having a power forward would be pretty good. Game says, Tatum earned every cent of his contract tonight. I'm done with anyone saying Ainge is a bad GM. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's not. Moopy says Kemba sat out for his back tonight. I know, and that's what his, like, I'm talking about long-term, what's the issue with Kemba, Ben? I'm not saying the knee was tonight's injury. I'm talking about going to the offseason. Like, if he comes back and has to sit out back-to-backs, it's knee, and it's knee because it's been knee all along. So it's like, that's the issue. Back, like, we have seen him have, like, some back troubles this year, so I don't want to go too far here, but, he's had, like, the neck pinch and whatnot. But the knee is the issue. Like, I know it's not Kemba Walker's only issue, but that's his injury. Chris is saying Grant should sign with the Shanghai Sharks this offseason. Get him out of here. Get him. And hey, get him out of here. Maybe he'll go over to Shanghai and his $150 cameo that he charges might actually get some traction there. Maybe he'll be like, where did Steph Marbury go? Where did he go? Japan or China, or where did Steph Marbury go? Wherever he went, he became literally like an absolute superstar, like the Michael Jordan over there. But anyways, guys, I think we are going to start closing up shop tonight. Thank you to every single one of you guys that tuned in. What a game. Like, that's all I can describe it as. What a game. I mean, I like that I go, that's all I could describe it as, and yet I was on here for 45 minutes talking about it. But honestly, good game. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you back here Sunday, which, hey, only the ones that are still in the stream will know this. Sunday, my birthday. Hopefully the Celtics get a win for me on my birthday. It'll be a birthday stream. Pretty juiced for it. But let's go, Celts. Hopefully, hopefully this game didn't take too much out of them and they're going to go out and drop a dud on Sunday. Hopefully this game sort of points them in the right direction and builds a little bit of momentum. But we'll talk to you guys next stream. Hopefully we're talking about a dub, and we'll see you then. Peace.